Tree climbing. For some, it may be fun, but for others, they make a living out of traversing the oftentimes treacherous heights. I caught up with a group of arborists who showed us just how daunting the task can be and how they managed to stay safe. Aurora resident Todd Kramer has been climbing trees for more than 20 years as part of the family-owned business Kramer Tree Specialist. Kramer's work has even taken him to Joplin, Missouri, where in 2011 he helped remove fallen trees so utility crews could restore power following the devastating tornado. Now the arborist is also a 10-time champion of the Illinois Tree Climbing Championship, which was held this year at Cantini Park in Wheaton.
I started competing back in the early 90s. The industry was much different back then. There wasn't nearly as many tools or techniques that we have nowadays. And my father, who I still work for, he pretty much made us go compete because he thought it was a great platform to go see other climbers and see what they're doing to overcome the challenges and the problems that we're having on a day-to-day basis.
During the competition, Kramer and 16 other certified arborists raced against the clock in 5 different events, each one helping them brush up on different skills for use while actually on the job.
They see new climbing techniques, new innovations, new gear. They come out here, they compete, they network. And we also put it on in a public area so that the public can see what tree climbers have to do every day.
One of the contests had the climbers rescuing a dummy from a tree.
It forces you to put yourself in a situation that you might find yourself in. If you have a victim, or let's say one of your coworkers might be hurt, you then have the capacity to bring him out of the tree safely.
Meanwhile, the work climb was an obstacle course that had climbers completing 5 real-life job tasks in a giant oak tree.
This will test your agility, how smooth you're working, how much slack you're generating in your system and keeping your system really tight so you really can't take a fall.
It's going to clip right into here.
After gearing up, I got the chance to feel what it's like, and trust me, it was not easy. It took me about 5 minutes just to get a few feet off the ground, while it only took less than a minute for these experts to scale an entire 60-foot tree. So just what does it take for them to move so fast?
Most of it's just ergonomics, knowing how to move, like move your feet and your arms all in unison to make it easier. So it is difficult physical, but once you figure out the ergonomics of it, it's easier.
Arborists, by definition, are those trained in the art of planting, growing, and maintaining trees. There are various types of arborists that perform this type of work, but with slightly different objectives.
Your municipal arborists take care of streetways, parkway trees, parks, and then you got utility arborists that take care of line clearance, which is really dangerous when you got to take care of electrical lines. You got your commercial arborists that take care of residential homes and sometimes contract out.
This is more of a forest environment where the trees don't need to be maintained so much, but in the urban environment with buildings and people's houses, those trees all have value, they need to be maintained. And that's where we come in to maintain the trees when you cannot get bucket trucks and equipment to them, you have to manually do the work.
While the industry is dominated by men, Alex Julius held her own in the competition as the only woman. Julius took up the job of arborist after enjoying a hobby that involved a different type of climbing.
Well, I actually started off as a rock climber in college, and I was taking horticulture and landscape architecture courses, and in the process I found out I could get paid to climb. I just had to make the switch to trees, and it was a really amazing switch. It's similar in the accepting that your life hangs on a rope, but it's very different in the fact that rock climbers are just using the rope as a safety, whereas tree climbers use the rope as part of their climbing.
The demand for professional climbers is rising, especially as invasive species like the gypsy moth and emerald ash borer beetle continue to take over thousands of suburban trees, and as natural disasters continue to destroy communities. While it can be risky business, many arborists say it's worth the reward.
In the end, trees are our life, they're our lungs. We can't live without them, and people like to have beautiful trees around them, and they like what they're used to with parkscapes, so we need to prune them, otherwise they'll look like a forest, and people like their more perfect trees.
And when maintained, trees not only look prettier, but also provide greater property value for your home and are safer because loose limbs that could fall on someone are properly removed. Reporting from Cantini Park, Kevin Machak, Naperville News Extra.